Good afternoon, and welcome to the greatest 5 minutes of your life. I am Sammy Ryan, joined alongside Carlos Cortez and Quentin Gary. This is LHS Sports Center as we bring to you the best scores and highlights from this week's of action. To start off with, I'd like to give a huge shout out to all fall sports athletes. Very few know what time and dedication it takes to be a part of a sport, and they continue to show out with great performances on a day-to-day basis. Quentin?
A big shout out tonight is going to be for our tennis team, as they're going to start as team districts, and it's really important for them to keep moving on as a unit, and they're going against a tough matchup against LeBlanc, and they've played them in the season before and have struggled, but I think tonight is the night that turns around.
Yeah, we can all hope. So good luck to our Lafayette ladies in our tennis match tonight. Now we're going to transition on to cross country. Very few people want to go out and run after school, me included. So what these boys and girls do on a day-to-day basis is truly mesmerizing. They go out and run and sacrifice their own time to continue to strive to be best. And thus far in the season, they have had 6 meets, one including the Krug Park Invitational, and they showed out how good they are. We had 4 runners place, including soccer star Jack Wing taking second place in that meet.
I mean, you say these soccer star like Jack Wing. This whole cross-country team is just a unit full of athletic, whether runners, soccer players, wrestlers. It's just all across the board. They cover it all. And they're stars in each of their individual sports and in cross-country. And I think that just shows a lot about them.
Yeah, for sure, Quentin. And now a look at our softball team. Carlos?
And you talk about tough. And this ladies softball team, they are a tough unit. Early on the season, playing mid-buck, going into the 6th inning, tied 0-0, and then but giving up 2 late runs and eventually lose that game. But what's most impressive is that they go to the mid-buck invitational at LHS Park and winning 4-0.
Yeah, and within that 4-0 win this past Saturday, Maya Mosey had a huge bomb, so that's just a quick shout-out to her. And this softball team, they continue to look for some momentum. They beat a tough Stanberry squad yesterday, winning 11-0. And it was a huge win for them as they continue to look to build momentum heading into districts, just like all these sports, as their season soon will come to an end. Now we're going to look on to volleyball. Volleyball had a great start to their season. They're 3-0, beating a tough Excelsior Spring squad early on in the year. And then they faltered a little bit. They had a couple injuries, which you can't do anything about except get healthy as soon as possible, and that they had. And with that, and with being healthy comes with that same the same momentum that they had early on in the year as they beat a tough Benton squad just last night in a total of 5 sets. Huge win.
And yeah, you talk about the injuries there, and Keani Jackson getting injured, spraining her ankle actually in warm-ups in the Central game, and her presence really hasn't been felt, at the net, getting those blocks, getting those big spikes to win those close sets. And we saw how big she was in this Benton game yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. And much like the softball squad, they look to gain some momentum heading into district play. They look to make some noise in postseason. Now a look at the soccer, Carlos.
Yeah, this soccer team, they've had their struggles this season, but they're tough. Getting really good looks on offense, getting really good through balls, really good crossers. But that defense has struggled a little bit, having really not enough experience, starting a lot of underclassmen. But when they go into a lot of conference play and they eventually head into district play, I think they're going to find their identity and get a lot more wins.
Like you said, it's a young soccer team, and you got to give them big ups for that, as they all come and play as a unit, play as one. Even though they're young, they play as if they're older. And it's just great.
Yeah, and there's a look at their upcoming schedule. They take on the Cameron Dragons tomorrow at Cameron, and then they're home against Northeast, then home against Chillicothe later on next week. And now, the sport that's really showing out to greatest potential right now, the football squad. They had a tough loss against an in-town rival, the Central Indians, just this past week. But then the following week, just this past Friday, they traveled to a tough Chillicothe environment, and they actually won that game 35-34. What was most impressive about that game was the defense. They had a huge 2-point conversion stop with just 2 minutes remaining to eventually win 35-34, as I said.
And you mentioned that Central game, and that game helped a lot with this team playing Chillicothe. It was a close game from the start, and they found a way to pull it out.
Yeah, most definitely. And they look to continue that momentum with the upcoming schedules. This Friday, home against Cameron Dragons at 7 o'clock. Everybody should come out. It's homecoming. And then following week, they're home against St. Pius. Senior night. Shout out to both of you guys. You guys are going to play in that game, both seniors being. And then to finish off the regular season schedule, they'll travel to Maryville to take on the Spoof Hounds. And that will be it for here today for LHS Sports Center. We'd like to give a quick shout out to all our camera and crew work behind the scenes that make this happen. Thank you guys so much, and we hope to see you next week.